Let me say something that might sound harsh, but might save you years of regret. Starting at 40 is often the worst career move you can make. Not because you are too old, not because you are incapable, not because reinvention is wrong, but because when starting over is driven by burnout, it is not reinvention, it is escape. And escape rarely creates alignment. If rest, leave, or vacations did not fix your exhaustion, this is going to explain why. Stay with me. You know this moment. You finally stepped out. You finally stepped away. You took the real vacation. Not the reply to emails from the beach kind, the proper one. You slept. You unplugged. You promised yourself, when I get back, I will feel different. And for a few days, you did. Your body softened, your mind quieted. Then Sunday night arrived. That familiar tightness in your chest, that heavy, sinking thought, I do not want to go back. And my Monday morning, the exhaustion returned. Not because you did not rest enough, but because you returned to the same internal contract. And that is when the fantasy begins. What if I just start over? What if I leave corporate entirely? What if I become something completely different? It feels bold, empowering, clean, a fresh start. But here is what no one tells you. Most starting over decisions at 40 are not about ambition. They are about depletion. And decisions made from depletion feel powerful in the moment, but destabilizing long term. Because burnout is not a rest problem. If it were, your vacation would have healed it. It is not even primarily a job problem. It is an identity problem. Let us dismantle something gently. At 40, you are not who you were at 25. Your nervous system has changed. Your values have matured. Your tolerance for misalignment is lower. Your energy is more precious. But many women are still living inside careers built for earlier versions of themselves. You succeeded by being the responsible one, the agreeable one, the high capacity one, the woman who absorbs pressure and calls it professionalism. That identity worked until it did not. And now, instead of questioning the identity, you are questioning the entire career. That is the subtle mistake. Starting over without examining identity is like moving to a new city because you are unhappy, but bringing all the same habits, boundaries, and beliefs with you. New office, same internal exhaustion. New title, same emotional labor. New industry, same suppressed self. The environment changes. The internal system does not. And 6 months later, you are thinking, how did I end up here again? Let me show you this down. Burnout is a chronic internal misalignment. It is the gap between who you are now and who you have to be every day to survive your career. That gap is exhausting. And starting over feels like closing it, but unless you name the misalignment clearly, you simply recreate it in a new form. That is why so many smart, capable women quit stable careers only to feel destabilized. Take drastic cuts, pay cuts they did not need to take. They launch businesses from urgency rather than clarity. They realized later, I was not called. I was just tired. Not because they lack courage, but because they skipped alignment. Here is the reframe most women have never been given. You do not need to start over. You need to update the internal operating system. Ask different questions. Not what should I become now, but Ask yourself, what values am I violating daily to maintain this role? What parts of myself have I suppressed to stay successful? What emotional labor is draining me quietly? What does my nervous system actually require now to function well? Notice, none of this demand a dramatic exit. They demand clarity, and clarity stabilizes decisions. Let me give you a metaphor that might land. Imagine you have been wearing a beautifully tailored suit for 15 years. It fit perfectly when you first put it on, but your body changed, your posture shifted, your preferences evolved. Now it feels tight, restrictive. You could burn the suit, or you could get it altered. Starting over is burning the wardrobe. Alignment is tailoring what already exists. At 40, wisdom is not about reinvention from scratch. It is about intelligent refinement. And here is something important. The urge to start over often masks grief. Grief for the years you overextended. Grief for the identity that no longer fits. Grief for realizing you built success at the cost of self-connection. That grief deserves space, not impulsive action. When you own the grief, your decisions soften. They become measured, strategic, grounded. Let's anchor this clearly. If rest did not fix you, your burnout, you are not broken. If success feels heavier than it should, you are not ungrateful. If you are fantasizing about disappearing into something new, you are not irresponsible. You are misaligned. And misalignment is data, not a verdict. Data asks to be interpreted, not reacted to. Here is actually what works. Internal realignment before external movement. That might look like redefining your boundaries inside your current role, negotiating structure instead of abandoning stability, shifting responsibilities before shifting industries. It could also look like clarifying your identity before rewriting your resume. When women do this first, something surprising happens. The start over fantasy loses urgency because clarity replaces panic. And from clarity, change becomes clean, not chaotic. So before you burn bridges, before you drain your savings, before you abandon the stability you worked hard to build, pause. Not to stay stuck, but to stabilize your identity. Because when your identity is anchored, your next move won't feel like starting over. It will feel like evolving forward. And that is very different. At 40, you do not need drama. You need depth. You do not need reinvention from nothing. You need integration. You do not need to destroy your life to feel alive again. You need alignment. And when alignment comes first, career transitions stops being desperate leaps. They become deliberate expansions, grounded, strategic, peaceful, and finally yours. I'll see you on the next one.